Hello everyone and welcome to the Vortex, where lies and falsehoods are trapped and exposed. I'm Michael Voris. When Obama started running for president, he put together a committee of heretical Catholics to advise him on how to trick enough Catholics into voting for him. You see, this issue called abortion keeps coming up so much that two-step Barack has to keep dancing around. Getting most Catholic voters who care about abortion, which should be every one of us, to look past the issue wouldn't be easy. But Obama found what may be his man in the person of a well-respected and notable legal scholar and professor at California's Pepperdine Law School. His name is Douglas Kmek. Now, I don't know Professor Kmek. I've never spoken with him, never met him, but I have read some of his writings and writings about him. The reason there are lots of writings about him is he says he's an ardent Catholic and yet enthusiastically supports Barack Obama. As such, he's not alone. But he is a well-respected Catholic with solid conservative credentials for the most part. But he's a coup for Obama because he is a high-profile, pro-life Catholic voting for the most ardent supporter of abortion this country has ever seen. The problem is this: Mr. Kmek doesn't see it that way. He says he believes Mr. Obama can be reasoned with on the subject of abortion, that Obama can perhaps moderate his views and allow for dialogue as the slaughter continues, 4,000 a day. Now, a few months ago, Kmek published an article that sent faithful Catholics scrambling for their novena booklets. He wrote the following in this article, quote, "Beyond life issues, an audaciously hope-filled Democrat like Obama is a Catholic natural," end quote. I don't care how smart he is, how many degrees he has, Mr. Kmek is just flat out wrong or naive or both. Barack Obama is the most dangerous political figure hostile to Catholic values to emerge on the political scene in a very long time. And Mr. Kmek has been taken in by him. He's not the only one, but he is the most notable. Mr. Kmek was taken to task by faithful Catholics all over the country on blogs, editorials, articles. The tsunami of responses caused him to write a response to them, as he put it, to some of my fellow Catholics. Now, time here doesn't allow us to review it totally, but we will review certain points of his in context and fairly. First, though, let's go back to the line in the original article that started it all. He says, quote, "Beyond life issues, an audaciously hope-filled Democrat like Obama is a Catholic natural." Beyond life issues, what does that mean? The very syntax of the phrase betrays its poor reasoning. Issues beyond life? Professor, that's precisely the point. The issues you are talking about are beyond life, as in they don't matter if you're dead. Listen to yourself, please. Explain what issues matter beyond life. If I'm not alive because I fell victim to an abortionist's knife and vacuum, what issues can you possibly talk to me about that are more important? You seem genuine, but on this score, you are genuinely wrong. You seem sincere, but you're sincerely wrong. Professor Kmek, to be certain, says he's no fan of abortion. He disagrees with it, thinks it's an evil act, etc. He has a solid history of being pro-life, until now. He makes two glaring points. One, abortion should not be the first and only issue a Catholic considers when voting. And two, a better way to fight against the evil of abortion is not through the political process, but through people like parish volunteers and good-willed people helping pregnant women. He forgets the question, what if the pregnant women just want to get an abortion and don't want your help? But these points fall flat, and here's why. First, he advocates the abandoning of the political process to get Supreme Court justices who will overturn Roe versus Wade because it hasn't worked after decades. That's just stupid. It hasn't worked yet for a couple of reasons. One, pro-lifers were down by a count of 7-2 when the crisis emerged. 7-2. Roe versus Wade was decided by a vote of 7 black-robed, black-hearted justices to just 2. That means you have to hold on to your 2 pro-life justices while replacing the 3 pro-abortion justices. The stars have to align pretty nicely for you to accomplish that. You must have a pro-life president committed to the cause. You have to have a suitable candidate for the court. and you have to have a U.S. Senate not hostile to letting babies be born. Since Roe v. Wade, what has happened in the 30-plus years? The balance has shifted from 7-2 to 5-4, just one vote away. It's taken 30-plus years to almost get to the mountaintop. You know, somebody can easily understand Kamek's frustration over the current tactic of fighting it out in the back alleys of politics to win elections, to get justices seated, to get Roe v. Wade overturned, but he makes a most astonishing point, and one that is gigantically ignorant for a professor of law. He essentially says it doesn't matter if Roe versus Wade is overturned because the whole question will just go back to the states, and only a few states will outlaw the procedure anyway. What? Isn't that a start? I think that's a great start. It's a start. Presuming to speak on behalf of the tens of thousands of babies in those states who will finally have the protection of law and be allowed to be born, I say, have you been hit on the head once too often by a judge's gavel, Mr. Kamek? Every year, year after year, tens of thousands of Americans, perhaps more, tens of thousands of babies will live and escape the abortionist and Planned Parenthood. Are you crazy? I'll start with that. Will I accept that as a final outcome? No way. But after 35 years and 50 million baby victims later, you're darn tootin' I'll take that as a first step. And as for your argument that nothing has been accomplished, I beg to differ. Because pro-life presidents, in particular the current George Bush, was elected, partial birth abortion is now illegal in America. God willing, all abortion will be one day. Now comes the most pro-life ticket in the history of American politics, at least arguably, with just one, count it, one more vote needed on the Supreme Court, with 4 justices poised to condemn Roe v. Wade to the eternal fires to which it belongs. And now, after decades of fighting the fight, now you want to change direction and give up. You're either misguided, have been snowed by Obama, or have been promised some job in a later Obama administration. But you know what? Your argument isn't with me. It's not with all these fellow Catholics. It's with people like this woman we're about to hear from. Her name is Gianna Jessen. 31 years ago, her 17-year-old mother aborted her. She survived.
I'm adopted, and my biological parents were 17, and my biological mother was 7.5 months pregnant when she decided to have a saline abortion, which is a saline salt solution that's injected into the mother's womb. The baby gulps that solution, it burns the baby inside and out, and then she's to deliver a dead baby within 24 hours. So after being burned alive in my mother's womb for approximately 18 hours, I was delivered alive in an abortion clinic.
The abortionist wound up signing her birth certificate. The man you are backing for president, Doug, would have let her die after the abortion and supports what her mother did. Explain your support of Obama to her, not me, and not to an anonymous audience on the internet either. Explain it to her. And while you're at it, look her in the eyes and enumerate which issues beyond life should have had higher importance as the abortionist shot saline poison into her little unborn body. Since you wrote a letter to your fellow Catholics, Professor, I'm asking you, as one of those fellow Catholics, come home. Consider you're gambling with eternity, and in the end, that's the only beyond life issue that really matters. I'm Michael Voris.